Welcome back to Smoky Ribs. Today's video was inspired by a video that I watched last week that Justin from Baby Back Maniac did on his Weber Smoky Mountain. Now what he done was some direct ribs, no water pan, no kind of diffuser, just direct heat, and they turned out amazing. So I thought I would try that today on my Pits and Spits adjustable flat top grill. Let me show you what I got. I've already got my charcoal. I think this is gonna work. Let's see. So I went ahead and added some charcoal briquettes to my fire grate. And as you can see, this is more of a snake method. It's not round like you would do in a Weber kettle, but it is a snake. It's gonna start here, and then it's gonna burn slowly like a wick all the way around to this end. So that's gonna do two things. It's gonna help me really dial in these low temperatures, and it's also going to give me a lot longer time on this charcoal itself. And I do have more in case I run out, but I don't really foresee it. That should be plenty to do one rack of spare ribs. And I am doing spare ribs, not St. Louis, so we're doing a full rack of ribs. Now I've got some charcoal briquettes. Now I want to go ahead and start placing some of these right here at the start of this and get this going. Now I do get comments from time to time where people say that you shouldn't do this method because these unlit are going to put off a really bad taste. Nothing is further from the truth. I have done this many times. Now you do have to give it time to get established. Once you get this whole area here really glowing, then as it heats up these other ones, you will not detect any foul taste at all. All right, that should be enough to get it going. Go ahead and close this. I am going to close this side to where it can draft through the side directly over the fire. Our fire is just about ready to go. I want to go ahead and get these ribs prepped. Now this is just simple, basic barbecue. I'm leaving the membrane on. I'm leaving everything. I'm not trimming anything. I'm going to have it just like this. It doesn't get any easier. The rub that I'm using is going to be Uncle Larry's brown sugar dry rub. I've yet to try this, so we're going to try it for the first time today. Now there's no heat on this side, obviously. I'm just using this side to get this rub. Just gonna let it hang out here and sweat in for a few minutes. Then we'll get it over here and close the lid, dial in our temps. Now I will be cooking these the majority of the time, bone side down. I don't know if you checked out my ribs I did on my Santa Maria a few years back, but the bones actually help cook those ribs. The heat's underneath the bones heat up, and they start cooking the ribs from the inside outward. I might flip them right there at the end if they need the added color, but this does have a lid, so that might not be necessary. Now before I actually put them on, I just want to show you the Smokewood Crown Royal Premium Whiskey Barrel chunks. I don't want to put too many, just maybe 3 or 4, and that's going to be plenty. They're small chunks, and we're going to put it close to the fire to where it gets most of the smoke right at the beginning. So I'm going to lay these out diagonal just like this. We're going to go ahead and close the lid, and I'll start dialing in my temperatures. At some point, I may need to spritz. We'll just keep a check on them, probably about every hour. So the pit was a little slow coming up the temperature, but right now I've got it dialed in right at 250 degrees, holding rock solid. That's one thing I kind of enjoy doing about barbecue. I do own pits that can dial these temperatures in perfectly and hold them, but I love playing around with fire and controlling it to where I can dial in those perfect temperatures by maneuvering vents and such like that to achieve that. That's the fun part to me, and I just enjoy it. But this thing is running smooth just the way I showed to set it up. So all we got to do now is just wait. As I said, periodically I may raise the lid just to see if they need spritzing, but outside of that, I'll be back when these are done. All right, we have been going just around 3 hours, three and a half maybe. These smell insane. Look at that beautiful color. Let's probe in between some bones and see what we got. Holy crap. Super tender. These are done. Just as tender as they can be. Beautiful color. Now I'm not going to sauce these. I asked the wife, she don't want them sauced. I like dry ribs too. And when I say dry, I mean without sauce. Let's take a look and see what the bottom side looks like. Oh yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Little charring, definitely not burned up. I tell you what, I never flipped these one time until just then. That bones, man, when you heat them bones up, it does a good job cooking those ribs all the way through. So I'm gonna take these off the heat. Let's slide them over here. I'm gonna get some foil. I'm gonna wrap them up. And I'm just gonna bring them inside and let them sit and let them rest for a good 20-30 minutes. Then we're gonna cut into it. After letting them rest a little bit, I went ahead and cut the rib tips off of the ribs. That way I can get them more like St. Louis style ribs to where I can cut the individual ribs off much easier. And I've actually got them back on the pits and spits in a plate, just staying on warm. That turned out good, nice smoke ring. Not the meatiest ribs in the world, but hey, they're still pretty hot. We're gonna give it a try. That's what we think. That's the way I like ribs. Super tender, but don't fall off the bone. Bites right off. That rub is good. Uncle Larry's rub. Left the membrane on, as I mentioned. Oh, perfect. Tell you what, that was record-setting time on these ribs. Not the thickest ribs in the world, but still. I mean, I don't even think I was quite up to 3 hours. I was close to it, and they were perfect. I'm glad I checked them when I did. I would have overshot it, no doubt about it. This direct method is a great method. And on a pit like this, if you did get your pit out of control, you can always slide them over. By doing that snake method like I did, I kept this one under control the entire time, and it was just enough charcoal to pull this cook off. Thanks for watching. I'm Russ Jones with Smoky Ribs Barbecue.